Hello all, in this video I want to say a few words about the Wonder Years reboot, specifically episode 4, The Workplace. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar and this is Big Discussions 76, Entertainment and Media. First of all, please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Well, guys, I wanted to shoot a short video giving my thoughts on the reboot of the Wonder Years, specifically episode 4. The Workplace. I just recently watched it and a couple of things stood out to me, which I'm going to get into in this video. I'm not going to go episode by episode, or I'm not going to try to squeeze an overview of the previous episodes into this video like I did for the review of Wu-Tang and American Saga with my best friend, or as I just did for Our Kind of People. It's funny, I'm reviewing, I'm making content on all of these 3 new black shows, but I'm just going to talk about what I've seen in the series thus far, and then I want to focus on episode 4 because episode 4 for me has a specific significance. Now, before I get to that, I want to point your attention to the fact that I did create a video on this channel looking back at the original Wonder Years series, because as a Generation X 70s baby, the original series aired when I was in middle school. So that was very much one of my favorite 80s TV shows, and that show left a lasting impression on me, even though it took place in a suburban town, and I am from the east side of Buffalo. So that's in my catalog if you want to take a look at that. I think it performed moderately well for this channel. But what's interesting in talking about the first incarnation or iteration of the series, one of the things I thought about when I heard that they were rebooting this, but with a black cast, one of the things I thought about was, do you even need to reboot the Wonder Years? Why does that need to be redone? It was perfect. It was great. It was fine the way that it was. So I have to admit, and some of you may come after me for this, I did start watching this one with a I don't want to say a skeptical eye, but just from the perspective that the first Fred Savage series with Wayne Arnold and Winnie and Paul and Jack and Norma, that was perfect. That was great. It didn't need to be done over again. So, but I have started watching the reboot. I just like Wu-Tang and American Saga, and also Our Kind of People. I'm typically watching them all together on a Thursday night. This week it happened to be Friday night. And I'll just say that at first, I don't know, I know that for the original series they left the setting and the location kind of anonymous. You just knew that it was a suburban town. I don't know that they've said where exactly Dean and his family live, so I don't know. I may go back and watch the first episode and see if they say it, but I can't tell you where it is. But what I can tell you is that this is written from the perspective of a black family in the civil rights era in the 60s, and so race very much plays a role in this. I'm going to go over the cast just briefly, and then I'm going to jump into episode 4 and why it resonates with me. or why it resonated with me. Okay, so Dule, let me blow this up for myself here. Dule Hill plays Bill Williams. He's the dad. Milan Ray, and these aren't in order. This is on Google. Milan Ray, she plays Kisa Clemens. Is that Clemens? I don't think her last name is important at this time. Let me go back. Yeah, Milan Ray plays Kisa. That's Dean's love interest. I guess she's kind of like the Winnie Cooper, but they went in a different direction with this, and I'll explain that shortly. Seikon Senbio, let me blow that up a little bit for myself. Sengblo. Okay, I think she's African. Seikon Sengblo plays Lillian Williams. That's Dean's mother. She's, I think she's very attractive. I think she's what we would consider to be plus sized, but she's a very, very attractive, voluptuous, shapely, dark-skinned woman. So that's something I'm thinking as I'm watching the show. And she plays that. She's channeling that role of a black mother very well. She's portraying that very well. Elisha Williams plays Dean Williams. He's the main character. He's what the equivalent of Fred Savage and his Kevin Arnold was. Don Cheadle, he's narrating the whole thing. Laura Kariuki, she plays Kim Williams. That's the sister. Looks like she's African as well, and her facial features bear that out. Amari O'Neal, he plays Corey Long. That's excuse me. That's Dean's best friend, and I guess he would be the equivalent of Paul Pfeiffer. And Alan Maldonado, that's Coach Long. So he coaches the boys in baseball, and in this episode I saw that he works in the same company with the mother, Lillian, and then Julian Lerner is Brad Hillman. Is that Hitman or is that Hillman? Let me blow that up for myself. It is Hitman. So Dean has his black best friend, and he has a white friend at school. So it's been interesting because while this is told from a black perspective and a black family's perspective, they've been kind of like the reboot of Star Trek. They've been kind of paralleling the old stories but telling them in a different way. For example, Corey kisses Kisa, and we know that in the original series, after Brian Cooper dies, Kevin goes wandering around and he sees Winnie there, and they kiss. But the early death in this series was the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as they're trying to make sense of it all, and as Dean is trying to make sense of it all, he goes wandering around the neighborhood and he sees Corey and Kisa sitting together, and they kiss. So that really throws a monkey wrench in everything, because you say, okay, well, it's supposed to be the main character and his love interest and his girlfriend, but she's kissing his best friend, so how's this all going to turn out? I don't know. But as the series goes on, whatever Corey and Kisa had, it seemed to be short-lived, and they all just seemed to have kind of gone back to where they were. So that long term, it seemed to be inconsequential. The brother, there's an older brother in this family as well. I think his name is I can't think of the name right now. I think it begins with a B. But the brother is away actually fighting in Vietnam. So that's kind of similar to Brian Cooper in the original series. We don't meet the brother. Thus far, we know that he is a high achiever, and part of Dean's journey is trying to live up to the greatness of his brother. His brother did everything well, whether it was his academics or whether it was his athletics. But he's away in Vietnam. I think it's Bruce. I think the older brother's name is Bruce. And so it's curious. I'm curious to see whether or not we're actually going to meet Bruce, or if Bruce is going to get killed off in the war the way Brian Cooper was. So they're leaving us hanging there a little bit in terms of what's going to happen with the older brother. When Brian Cooper got killed off in the original series, that was episode 1. It was kind of morbid, and you felt kind of bad when you saw him, and then you realized that he wasn't coming home. So let's see what happens with the older brother. And the sister, she's doing her rebellious thing. She was in love with a black nationalist type, and she's always conflicting with the mother and those kinds of things. But episode 3 was called The Workplace, and again, they're kind of paralleling the original series, but telling it in a different way. So when I watched that, and if you watched the original series, you would know that was paralleling the Norcom episode. So in the Norcom episode, Kevin Arnold goes to work with his father, and he sees what his father does every day, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he actually sees his father get chewed out by his boss, and he sees his father get kicked around a little bit. And he gains a deeper understanding of his father and his father's life, and why his father seems miserable at times, and why his father comes home the way he comes home at times. Well, in this iteration of it, Dean initially goes to hang out with his father, who was a musician who's in a funk band, and they try to give him something to do when he's playing the sax, and he's disrupting the whole thing. And then he goes to his mother's office, so he's not disrupting his father's band. And I thought that episode was very much about race. Dean, in much the same way that Kevin Arnold gains a better understanding of his father's life and his father's struggles, Dean very much gains an appreciation of his mother's life and her struggles and everything she has to do in terms of being at work, and also the work that she does at home for the family. So he gains an appreciation of that. But he also learns that his mother has her master's degree, and he also sees that she helps to keep things running at work, but she doesn't always seem to get the credit for it. And you also get the sense that she's a bit of a they see her as a bit of a mammy on a slave plantation. Some of you, that might rub some of you the wrong way, but it's just the way they wrote it up. She's taking care of things, she's navigating things, she's putting out fires. The boss is coming to her. She has a way of massaging the boss. She has a way of getting things done in a very, very prudent, non-confrontational way. But you get the sense that they see her as the black woman working in the office. And you see that Coach Long, Corey's father, he works at the same office. You see that while they're the two black people in the office, he's still trying to identify with the white men there. I think that was depicted in the lunchtime scene. And then one of the more powerful scenes is when the boss comes and tells her, good work, I'm going to put you on this project, but you're going to have to take it from Coach Long. They don't refer to him as Coach Long because they're at work, but Corey's father. You're going to have to take it from him, and I want you to tell him that you're taking it from him. I don't want to tell him. So at the end of that, the work scene, her being at the job, she has to go to him and tell him, hey, I'm taking this high profile project from you. So in a way, they're kind of pitting the two of them against one another, but they were making her have the blood on her hands. So those are things that that's what I saw in that episode. The cupcakes were significant. She had a way of making the cupcakes in such a way that they had a down home flavor. And she says, you know, when Dean asks, what does that mean? She says, well, it's like being a slave. So she had a way of making those cupcakes that the white workers could not. So I thought that was significant. I thought that's what that episode was. It was this version of the Norcom episode. And also, ending it off, they also channeled the Norcom episode, because at the end, when Lillian and Dean go home, Dean kind of cracks the whip on the father and the sister Kim, and he storms out of the kitchen in much the same way Kevin Arnold stormed out, or actually stormed into the house after his father's workday. So that's what I'm seeing from this series thus far. They're running parallel to the old or the original series, but they're telling it from a black perspective. I thought they were going for humor at first, and they are, but there are some very, very serious themes as well. And I'll be curious to see if we actually do get to meet the older brother, or if he dies before he comes home, or if he comes home with some sort of PTSD, much the same way that Lorenz Tate's character came home in Dead Presidents. So let's see. Let me know if you've watched The Wonder Years up to this point, and let me know whether or not you like it and what you think about it as well. And I'll probably check in after watching the entire season. And, you know, we'll see if we have actually gotten to meet the older brother, or something else happened. So I'm going to stop this here. Please like this video, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. If you want to throw something in the tip jar, that information is below this video as well. Hey, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.